OneNation, Trills and Wills with you here. We've got a lot to dive into. The Canadian women on the verge of going back to the Olympics have another game against Jamaica after a nice 2-0 victory in Game 1 in Kingston, Jamaica.
Sorry.
Road goals matter. Love that. Cavalry officially crowned regular season winners of the 5th season of the Canadian Premier League. Really excited. There's a trophy. There's prize money. There's a berth into CONCACAF Champions Cup. Remember that, everyone. It's no longer CONCACAF Champions League. It's CONCACAF Champions Cup. CCC. Used to be CCL. CCC. So when you see that on the socials, you know what I'm talking about.
Now I do.
Capiche? Okay, there we go. And apparently, there is some sort of fruit. You know we love talking about our fruit. Papaya is still #1 for me. Raspberries, get over it. What?
And figs.
And figs. Love my
I can
figs.
never get that out of my
1, 2,
mind.
3. What did you bring into the studio that everyone is just having a freak out over?
We'll just talk about it quickly. It was Guineb. For the Jamaicans, a good friend of mine came back from Jamaica, and I love Guineb, and she brought me some Guineb.
Guineb.
Yeah, it's like, I think Guinep.
Okay.
Anyways, it's kind of like lychee, hard shell. You bite it, you crack it open, you eat it. Or you just kind of take the meaty part of it, the flesh of the fruit.
Yeah.
And then there's a seed in it, but I brought it for nothing better than 4 Caucasian males trying to eat an island fruit, and just like, what's going on? We had Oliver Platt, very skeptical. Christian Jack as well. The Brits are pretty skeptical when it comes to new food.
I don't trust the Brits.
If it's not bangers and mash, they're just like, what's going on? But obviously, we both are telepathic as well with the white shirts today.
What is happening with our outfits today?
I just thought today was a white shirt type of day. You know, you can never go wrong with white or black. Like,
and neutral pants, by the way,
Exactly.
because you've got like the lighter beige. I have the brownie kind of color, except you've just got some bright orange shoes. I don't know if you're gonna go. Like, are you gonna go help out on the construction site later? Like, what's happening? Are you gonna go work some? You're gonna go work some cones at practice later?
That was a knee slapper. That's great. This is my Costco white shirt, Kirkland brand.
Hey, these are my Costco pants. Yes.
So that was my first job, Costco.
Okay, yeah.
Well, like, obviously I did like refereeing and camps or whatever, but that was the first job that like clock in, clock out, Costco. What was your first job?
My first job is I worked at a concession stand at a community center, so inside a hockey, like it was a hockey rink. So I was there at 5 in the morning making coffee.
What
for
time?
Extremely grumpy parents.
5 in the morning?
5 in the morning.
Nah,
I had to make sure that their coffee was ready to go. Yeah, so I worked at the concession stand. I'm sorry, I don't care if I'm calling anyone out, but like, it's just so true. Just don't buy the hot dogs at concession stands.
Oh no, you're doing that?
I'm just leaving it there.
Oh,
Ladies and
no.
gentlemen, I am just leaving it there unless they've changed protocol in the last, 20-something years.
You did that, Trills?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh no.
All right, here we go.
Let's switch it up.
Cavalry has some silverware now, my friend.
Woo!
Right? So we know that the CPL now has 2 trophies. So they have the shield for winning the regular season. They have the cup for winning in the playoffs, the title. So this is all very exciting. Cavalry now have a trophy. And they did it, ironically, their arch rivals, Forge, defeated Pacific. So because Cavalry had won earlier in the day by beating York, they still needed to make sure that Pacific was out of the picture, and Forge made sure of that by defeating Pacific. So there you go, Cavalry, they end up clinching the regular season title. What have you noticed about this year for them?
They have fluidity, they have depth. I think also too, when I look at them in terms of a tactical standpoint, their movement off the ball is the best it's ever been. Even when I was watching the league in 2019, obviously they were big players, and it was kind of them and Forge that ran the show. But even playing against them in 2021 and 2022, good players, but the movement and the cohesiveness wasn't always there. This year, however you play it, the 3 in the back, inverted, guys, partnerships, whatever you want to call it, everyone is just really paddling and going in the same direction. I think Tommy Wilden Jr. deserves a lot of respect and deserves a lot of praise for getting everyone on the same page. I also think the recruitment team, Oliver Minitel, ex-teammate of mine, and Tofa Fankunle, also in Cavalry, they've done an excellent job in bringing in Kobza and Tigney and all these players to really have this unit. Also getting Akio back from former Valor, that he was in Scotland and coming back to his hometown in Cavalry. But that's a unit there. I think they can go on and win the North Star Cup.
Cup now, yeah.
Cup.
So the regular season is the shield. Why are they messing with
No,
like
the
this?
Cup. I'm glad I took the breath.
So it's
North
the
Star
shield
Cup.
and then Cup.
But yeah, this side is beautiful to watch, and they've performed. And like you said, the first quarter of the season, Trills, it was rough for them.
Oh, we had Tommy on. Remember I asked him, I'm like, did you
Hot
ever
seat,
think you
yeah.
would win again?
5 ties, 1 win, 1 loss. The first quarter of the season, they were like
Yeah.
6th. It was very bleak. But they turned it around. They stuck with the way they wanted to play. And yeah, kudos to them. Hats off to them.
There are players that I feel like are pretty obvious. I mean, Marco Carducci is a stalwart. Dan Klump, defender. Meyer Bevins scoring goals. But I don't know if there's anyone in particular that you feel hasn't been given his flowers. Maybe a little bit of an unsung hero.
Okay.
That you like to mention.
I think the leaders and the big dogs of the team, there's 2. Ali Musi, Dan Klump, they've had exceptional years. Specifically Dan Klump, for me, he's front runner, number 1 for Defender of the Year. MVP, that's a whole different topic. I feel like goals go into that. But in terms of defender, you got to mention Dan Klump. But unsung heroes, I said it before. Shamit Shome is a baller, played for Edmonton, also played for Montreal Impact back in the day. Very good technical player. I said earlier on when we were doing OneNation as well that he needs to have a great year, but just because of his experience, just being Albertan, like coming into that team and really showing that he could play different spots and make the team better. And he has. He's played in the middle. He's played as like a wing back. He comes in inverted into the midfield as well. He had assist on the weekend, or I guess the hockey assist. He played Meyer Bevin. Meyer Bevin played Sergio Camargo.
second assist?
There it is. It counts in my mind. It doesn't count for stats, but it counts sometimes to be that player to get the things going. He's been huge. Also think Camden as well, as a left back or a left center back in the 3. Those 2 are probably unsung heroes because I'm not with them in the locker room, but they seem like leaders. They seem like they're just bringing it every day. And then they've been consistent on the pitch as well.
How about we go the ultimate leader off the pitch, which of course is Tommy Wheeldon Jr., who always gives us such great content. I'm still going with the hand on the ear, and he's vibrant on the sideline. He's great to interview. He always has these incredible things to say, great one-liners as well. But this is somebody who has really gotten the best out of his team. They are perennial contenders, but now, they go and they get this trophy, and to your point, it wasn't a great start to the season. How much does that voice of the manager matter in keeping everyone believing and on track? And what does this also do to his already pretty, I would say cemented, they went to the Home Depot and got the legacy cement. It's already been cemented, his legacy. But how much has it been cemented even more? Yeah,
this was a huge year for him because we said the Cavalry always plays a certain type of football, a certain brand of soccer. I'll throw that in there for you.
Yeah,
Cavalry
we had another debate. We'll get to that
it's
later.
okay. Let's throw it in there now. Football, soccer. Anyways, we're in Canada. I'll say soccer more than I say football. Actually, that's a lie. I'll say soccer sometimes. Anyways, Tommy Wheeldon Jr., he has a family unit. And they've showed out this season. I think now he has that monkey off his back. He has a championship. The Canadian Premier League shield is there. It's a lot, man. The words are just going in my head. But that's his. He's earned that. Now, if you can go and get the double, this is a heck of a season for Cavalry. But he's earned that. He showed out. Yeah, he's done a great job this season. Can I say something? Can I ask you something?
You know where we're going to go.
Is he still on your hot seat?
So the hot seat is warm. It's not hot
Lukewarm?
anymore. Because I wanted them to win a trophy.
They've done it.
So they've done that, 100%. The league has now made the regular season matter. And I can't take that away from Cavalry. They win and they got the job done. And it means they now get to be in CONCACAF Champions Cup. It's a big deal.
Huge.
However, Cavalry to me has a history.
Okay.
They're day oneers. They're an original team, which means there are 4 years of story making there with Cavalry. 4 years where the regular season title didn't get you what it gets you this year. Even though they acknowledged it last year, Atletico Ottawa the first, it was prize money and they're going to be given a trophy now. But the birth into the Champions Cup starts this year. So those 4 years, playoffs were the top dog.
Yes.
And they didn't get it done, whether it was performance-based, whether it was an unlucky bounce, whether it was a bad call. So to me, there's still a story for Cavalry when it comes to the playoffs. So they matter to me. They matter to me for Cavalry.
They matter. They matter in general. I just think that I like that the season matters this season.
Of course.
I love that. I love that. There's 28 games. They showed out. Look, they had 14 wins. 7 draws, 5 losses. And we just mentioned the 5 draws in the beginning of the season. They've just ascended. They never looked back. If they can keep that form, they literally only have to go and win 2 games. That first and second place game, at home at Atco Field, and then you rest up for a week and lick your
Be
wound.
against Ford.
Yeah, and then
See,
they
but
go.
that's what I mean about exercising demons in the playoffs still. Ah! Just gonna start screaming into the mic now. Anyways.
Oh, that is so great.
Yeah. So there's a lot to get into with Cavalry. So you know what? Let's continue talking the regular season champs. Here we are talking about Cavalry. Why don't we actually bring in a guy who plays on the team and has been with the team since day one? That is goalkeeper Marco Carducci, who, by the way, you had yourself a weekend, my friend, because not only do you win the regular season title, you celebrated a birthday. Was it 27?
27. I checked.
27. Yeah, that's
96.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Shows what year are you?
Yes.
I am a year is what I am. So we're not here to talk about my birthday and my age, but we're here to talk about a great weekend for you. Before we get into that, though, just also the feeling. I mean, Marco, you're a day oneer with this club, and now that there actually is a shield that you can lift up, we know what the regular season title means, a berth into CONCACAF Champions Cup. What was this weekend like for you?
Well, first of all, thank you. 27 yesterday. So yeah, an amazing weekend. Like you said, obviously, for me being an original at the club in my 5th season here, it means a lot. We've always been there. It's always been a goal of ours, obviously, to compete for championships every single year, and now to have this regular season title secured with 2 games to go, the CONCACAF spot locked. It's an incredible feeling. It's a great achievement for the entire club, and I'm just super proud to have helped the boys get over the line, and again, an achievement for the entire club, because it's something we've been working towards for a long time, and we're obviously super excited to have gotten the job done.
Marco, Andy and I love the inside scoop, so please tell us about the flight back. Like, what was going on? We saw a little bit, some content. Charlie Trafford, after he won Performer of the Match, he said that he promised he'd give some content. Well, what was that flight like? Were you watching the game? Were you tuned in the whole time? The Wi-Fi? Did you have the iPad going? Like, what happened? Talk to us about it.
This is the first time I bought Wi-Fi on a flight, which I thought was a bit. It was funny. I mean, it just felt like
big spender.
Yeah. I was like, no, definitely worth it. It's funny. You're more nervous watching that game than us playing in the game earlier in the day. We obviously knew what was on the line, but when you're in control of that, when you're in control of the outcome of the game, and you're out on the pitch, you just do what you do. It's normal. I was trying my best to just like be as calm as possible, but I was checking the score every 10 seconds. I was updating it on Google. I could see multiple screens, had it streamed. I was a bit further up. We had a group of the boys at the back that were all clumped together watching. There were some coaches around. So I was looking at the screen. I was looking at my phone. It was just, there was a lot going on, but the nerves were crazy. Obviously, you just knew, right? It was within touching distance. So it was awesome. I mean, it's difficult to celebrate the way you probably would like to on a plane, just, keeping in mind there are other passengers aboard, and you don't want to make it terribly uncomfortable for them. But yeah, it was exciting. It was very nerve-wracking, again, just to be experiencing that and knowing what was on the line. But it was a flight that I certainly won't forget anytime soon.
Other passengers, come on, they must have thought they hit the jackpot being on a flight like that where everybody's celebrating. That's a cool flight. Normally I'm bored to tears, especially if a flight's a little bit longer. So I think you gave those other passengers something to celebrate. Were people asking hey, what's going on here? I'm curious what other passengers were actually saying.
A little bit. And, what's actually really cool, as a quick side note, is we're getting recognized more and more. The league is growing, clubs are growing. Oftentimes when we're traveling, people know about us, they're fans or supporters. So when I went on, as I thought, okay, well, maybe I should just bring it up to one of the flight attendants to make sure they know what's going on, just in case, when 20 guys start yelling in the back of the plane halfway through the flight, they're not concerned about what's happening. So they did give it a little announcement just to explain what was happening and who we were and what was going on. I still think it caught some people by surprise, but like I said, it was a lot of fun, and yeah, it's an incredible achievement. So we were just enjoying the moment.
Well, that was actually smart of you to give some sort of heads up, because in today's day and age, if there's any kind of yelling on a flight, people are like, "What's up? What's going on? What's happening?" So it was, but
exactly.
This was all good celebrations. But so here's the thing, and we've been having some good debates on One Soccer, of course, because now we know that the league obviously is acknowledging the regular season title started last year. This year, of course, is the first time, again, the birth into CONCACAF Champions Cup. There's prize money involved. It's a big deal, Marco. But there's still another title to be won. And we know that the history with Cavalry the last 4 years, whether you've just been eliminated, whether there wasn't a bounce that went your way, a bad call. How are you approaching the playoffs right now?
With the same mentality that we've approached the whole season. To be honest, I think, again, we coming into training this morning for the first time, getting the group all together after the road trip. I mean, it's a great feeling, and we're obviously enjoying what we just achieved. But I think what's given us success is that one game at a time mentality. And, for now, we know what we've achieved, and it's an incredible feeling, but we still have 2 regular season games left to go. And now the focus is to make sure that we finish the season strong and then take that into playoffs. There's another trophy to be won. There's another title to hopefully get our hands on. And again, we'll certainly enjoy this moment, but starting today, it's recovery for the guys who need it. It's top up for the guys who need to stay sharp. We're going to keep that mentality, and it's a cool feeling, because I think being in this team and seeing that, it's like we're still hungry for more. Again, to be able to celebrate in front of our fans in the coming weeks with the last 2 home games, and to be able to raise the shield is something I'm very much looking forward to. But like I said, it's now, we play Valor at home on Friday. We want to make sure that we continue doing what we've been doing all season, and especially in the last little run of games that has gotten us where we are.
So, Marco, it hasn't been smooth sailing the whole season. The first quarter of the season, 5 ties. Then you got to win, and then a loss. That's the quarter of the season there. Cavalry just seemed not to go your way. What was the turning point? Because now you're looking at with this Cavalry FC side, 14 wins, 7 draws, 5 losses, 49 points. From my little research, I tried to do it last minute as well. 50 points is what you guys had as the max in the past 5 years. Obviously, it's hard with the bubble in 2020. But 50 points, you guys could easily pass that in the last 2 games. But is there a time in this season where that was a turning point, or a game, or a decision, or even a time in training that comes to you where you're like, yeah, we can do it this year?
I think there's a few moments for sure. But to capture it the best way possible, Jordan, I would say it was just that consistent belief. Like you mentioned, when we drew the first 5 games of the season, and it just felt like we couldn't get over the line. I think in maybe every single one of those games, we scored first as well. So, that was certainly a challenging point for us as a team, but we didn't change. And that's something we're really proud of. We said that we trusted the system. We trusted each other. We knew that amidst the adversity, we didn't want to get pulled away from the things that we were doing that we knew would eventually give us success. I think you can point to some games, obviously getting that first win, but then, we lost the next game, at least getting, a win in that, or a mark in the win column was great, but we just stayed consistent. And I think, like you've seen it more than ever, this league has grown more and more competitive. I think, in the first season, ourselves and Forge obviously kind of went away with things back in 2019, which is now a long time ago, of course. But now it's every single team on their day has proven that they can win home and away. And for us to be as steady as we've been, especially after that first part, I think just goes to show that with that consistency and with that trusting the process and the next man up mentality, that's what's given us success. But there's been a couple of games. I mean, beating Forge here 3-0 at home was a huge win, and I think a really big boost for us. You obviously look back recently, going on the road and picking up points, whether that was Ottawa, scoring in the last minute to win, beating Halifax away. There's several, right? But I think the biggest thing for us was just staying present and staying in the moment and trusting ourselves, and ultimately, it's gotten us the success we've had so far.
Well, Marco, before we let you go, and I know you just stressed right now, it's all about one game at a time, and that's been your mentality and why you've been able to be successful. But it's still my job to poke and prod. Have you allowed yourself a moment to think at all that now that you're going to be in CONCACAF Champions Cup, that there could be a potential matchup with Inter Miami, which means Lionel Messi? Have you thought about that at all?
Well, I think one of the first things I saw was a graphic of Messi and, you know, some other, like, I think Club America, I think it was Tigres was in there, you know, like to see the teams, you know, that we could potentially be playing, right? Like, you know, these MLS powerhouses, these massive clubs in Liga MX, like, it's hard not to. You know, if we get drawn against Inter Miami at any point, if we advance far enough to meet them, I mean, that would just obviously be incredible. But for us, whoever we play against, it's a huge achievement, and it's an honor and a privilege, really, to represent this club at that level. For me personally, I think about, you know, being a Calgary boy, now to have the ability to go play in, you know, the CONCACAF League next year, and you know, at that highest level on that stage, right? We talk about Champions League in Europe, and obviously this is our version here. So to have that opportunity to go out there and play against the best in CONCACAF is super cool. I don't think it's quite sunk in yet, to be honest, Andy. I think it's one of those ones where you're like, okay, well, maybe when the draw happens, or maybe when we're at that point when we're preparing for those games next year, that's when it feels a bit more real. But right now, it's just kind of like, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. So we'll see. Maybe we'll be welcoming Messi to Calgary. Who knows?
Yeah. Listen, it's going to be a busy year for you, that's for sure. But there's still work to be done, obviously, in the CPL. We look forward to the games that remain, and of course the playoffs. And we appreciate you taking the time here on One Nation.